Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. For today's video, we are going to be doing a shade comparison with the new Too Faced Born This Way foundation. We're going to be putting one side with my old foundation shade Mahogany. That is the shade that I've used before when I had this foundation. I did a review on this foundation 2 years ago, so if you're interested in more so of the formula and whatnot, check that out. But we're going to be doing Mahogany on one side, and then we're going to do Chai, one of the new shades that Jackie Aina created, on one side of my face. I also have the concealer here to test out as well. Real quick with the formulation on this is a foundation that I would not use in the heat. It is a beautiful foundation. I can remember anytime I had this on my face, I'd always get so many compliments on my skin. However, just for the heat and with oily skin, I wouldn't recommend it. Now when it's cool, this is actually my wintertime foundation. This is what I would go for, but in the summertime, if you are oily skin, this might not be it for you. And I got a new microphone, so hopefully the audio is better. All right, so let's go. We're gonna do Mahogany on this side. Mahogany is definitely orange. It's very warm. This is a foundation shade where, you know, it was not my perfect match. However, I can make it work. The reason being why I can make it work is because I feel like I do have a more golden yellow undertone. Now, if you are someone who has a neutral or a red undertone, you couldn't make it work. But for me, I was able to make it work. By the time I'd put on bronzer and concealer, everything would be all good. This is not a full coverage foundation, however, it is very buildable. I like this foundation because it is easy to use, so anybody can use it. There's no learning curve with it. You can use a foundation brush, you can use a beauty blender, sponge, and it legit looks like skin. So as you can see with Mahogany, once you blend it out, it's not as orange as it appears. Which again, undertone's going to play a huge part in that. So this side here, this is Mahogany. All right, so now on the right side, I'm gonna start applying Chai. I started watching Jackie Aina because I was trying to figure out my foundation shade, and I can say a good 99% of the time, whenever she says that she's a specific foundation shade, it's normally the same one that I'm into. So as you can see, Chai is much more of a golden. It's not orange. It's almost, I want to say, just looking at it before it's blended in, it's almost more so like a neutral golden, but not too neutral. So let's blend that. Oh yeah, already that looks much better. Now hopefully the camera with the lighting and everything is picking up okay, so you guys can see a difference. Just looking at myself in camera and in the mirror, I can tell that the left side of my face is much more warmer. Now it's not drastically off, but I can tell. But when I look over at this shade, I feel like this matches my skin tone way better. And let me pull out here so you guys can see my chest. I feel like looking at my chest in comparison to the left side of my face with the right side with the new shade Chai is a much better match for me. Boom. And I would have went ahead and bought Chai, but I felt like there is no need for me to buy it because I literally would not touch it until it got cold. And right now we are just in the thick of the heat, and there was no point in me buying it and then it just sit on my shelf, and that's just gonna make the shelf life less. So once it gets cooler, then I'll probably buy it. All right, so we've got the foundation. Next, we're gonna move on to the concealer. Originally, I bought the shade concealer in Mahogany, and I did a comparison. I wanted to see a comparison with the foundation shade Mahogany versus the concealer shade Mahogany. I'll post a picture for you guys so you can check it out. I do feel like the foundation shade Mahogany was much more warmer than the new concealer shade. However, once I was testing it out the other day, just kind of looking at Mahogany, I kind of felt like maybe the Mahogany was just a little too rich. So I got the shade Chestnut, and we are going to go in here. Yeah, Chestnut is a much better match for me. Now let's talk about this concealer as I'm applying it. This is probably the biggest concealer that I have ever seen. and it blends out very, very easily. it does have a huge applicator on it. I don't know if that's good or bad. You can go faster, but I don't know. I feel like that might be tricky when you're trying to work in the inner corner area, trying to get it in there. Now, as you can see, this definitely, the foundation or the concealer, they are not, and they're not marketed as a mattifying product. They are, I wouldn't necessarily say dewy, but it is more of a natural radiant, not satin whatsoever. It's very, very more so of a natural radiant foundation, which is again why I would not use it in the summertime. So I'm going to go ahead and set the rest of my face, and then we'll come back and talk about my thoughts on the concealer. All right, I'm back. I have the rest of my makeup on. So looking at everything in camera and on mirror, since I have, you know, my powder and blush and everything, bronzer, I don't really think that you can tell a huge difference in the fact that I have on 2 different shades. However, if you typically are the same shade as me, trust me, go with Chai. Just go with Chai, because I know just from my experience from wearing Mahogany, once my oils do push through, it does intensify. It'll get a little bit more orange as the day goes on, so keep that in mind. So Chai is definitely a much better fit. Again, like I was saying earlier, as far as formulation goes, this is not my foundation for the heat, just simply because it does not stand up on my skin. However, this is my wintertime foundation, so once it gets cooler, it'll work. Now let's move on and talk about the concealer here. Okay, so my concealer shade was in the shade Chestnut. I do feel like I am bright under my eyes, but it's not too terrible. Again, because this is a more natural foundation, I did have to go in with my Sacha Buttercup powder. If you are someone who is extremely oily, this is the powder to go to. And I think just because I put a lot of this on, it did intensify my under eyes a little bit. But as far as the concealer goes, I mean, it's not bad. It's a concealer. Was I wowed? Not really, but again, it's not bad. It goes on super easy, very easy to blend out. The color Chestnut works really good for my skin tone. I think this will be a really good for anyone that has mature skin, dry skin. I haven't been noticing any creasing as I was testing it out for you guys beforehand. Like I said, is it anything that's groundbreaking? Is it anything that really stuck out to me? Not really. Again, doesn't mean it's bad, just giving you guys my honest opinions. I can't compare it to the other Born This Way concealer just simply because I never picked that one up. It just never appealed to me. You can conceal, contour, highlight, and retouch. Don't know, I never use liquids to retouch, so that's a no-go for me. Highlighting, I could definitely understand. Concealing, I could totally understand. If you are someone that does like the cream contour, I can see how this would be great because it is so easy to blend out. I feel like sometimes once you're working with more of a liquid or a cream contour, it can be a little bit difficult to blend out, but just going off of how this went on the under eyes and it blended out just like that, I can see why a lot of people would want to use this for contouring. Me personally, I'm not a contour person, but that's just my preference. The formula of this is very nice. It's easy to use, blends out like a dream. There's no crazy fragrance, and like I said, I didn't experience any creasing with this. So that is going to wrap up my thoughts on the Too Faced Born This Way new shades that Jackie Aina created, and also the concealer. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Down below, let me know if it was helpful. Also, if you like me, you like videos like these, don't forget to subscribe and give me a like, and I will see you guys in my next video. Peace.